Now when you use the expression, our kids, you say, well, our kids are doing pretty well, you mean your own biological kids. Talk to people about the kids who are growing up on the wrong side of the track. They don't think it was one of our kids. She's somebody else's kid. Let them worry about her. And that's the cultural change that's happened. And that's why I call the book Our Kids. My name is Bob Putnam. I'm a professor of public policy at Harvard University, and I have just written a new book called Our Kids, The American Dream in Crisis. It's actually almost everybody who's read the book finds the stories so moving that, as one critic said, it's hard to read the book without crying. The book is about the growing gap between rich kids and poor kids.
There's 12 people living in this house altogether. Honestly, we can barely afford food. Whenever her food stamps are all gone, we run out of food. We don't have bread, we don't have meat.
I'm gonna try and sleep, but you can't because like your stomach's hurting, and it's because it doesn't have any food in it.
My parents will fight about money because they don't have enough money to pay the food.
There's an empty lot by my house, and we sometimes play there, but it's full of glass and garbage and stuff, so we're always afraid of getting cut and hurting ourselves when we're playing outside.
The story of the book begins in my hometown. The kids who came out of the class of 1959 had enormous upward mobility. 80% of us ended up doing better than our parents had done. The kids from the wrong side of the tracks were just as likely to make progress economically as the kids from the right side of the tracks. So it was kind of an embodiment of the American dream. Of course, this is the 50s, and it's a mostly white town, so there was racism in town, and there was a glass ceiling for women in my class. I don't want to say that it was a perfect place, but in terms of social class, how far you got in life didn't depend upon your parents. We're more likely now to live near people or go to school with people or marry people from a different race, but in social class terms, we're more segregated. Rich folks live in one part of town. That didn't used to be the case, and poor folks live in another part of town. The rich kids are dressed for success, but the poor kids are on a downward track, and that's, first of all, it's bad for the country, but secondly, it's just unfair. There are some awfully smart kids in that 23 million, and they're, in principle, if they had the right preparation, they'd invent marvelous things we can't even imagine, but we're going to miss that because we didn't think that those kids ought to be thought of as our kids. We have to get people on the upside of the opportunity gap, that is, people who are college educated, to think of the kids on the downside of the opportunity gap as also their kids, our kids.
If someone were to see like a broken window, they would think a community doesn't care, so they'd go break the other window. But if somebody sees a broken window and somebody fixing the broken window, then they'll be like, oh, they'll step back and they'll be like, that person cares.
Telling stories, real stories, that help Americans see, wow, we've gotten ourselves in a real pickle here. We've got to do something about it.